Welcome to Dirty Fanatics.
Falcon fans, Falcon Nation, welcome to DFU. If you're new to the channel, man, hit that like button, leave a subscribe, and definitely bring the comments to the comment section. I am your host, C Money. You can call me Chase, and my co-host of the night, Mr. David, is here to talk Falcon football from Recognized Game. Falcon fans, tap in because we have some content to break down tonight. Before we get too far into it, David, what's going on, man? Glad to have you here tonight at 8:30 on a Tuesday to talk about the Atlanta Falcons. David, what's going on, brother?
Well, nothing much, when every time the topic come up and it's Falcon football, I'm always willing to, talk, whether it's good, bad, or ugly, about the Dirty Birds. I love the team. Not doing too good right now. Definitely coming off a loss that definitely thought would have been a kind of comfortable win. Just don't know what went on, but we'll break it down and talk about it as DFU always do.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Philip couldn't make it tonight. Rick and Robert, and also Cody, busy schedule throughout the week, man. So as I said, it's just me and my guy David tonight.
Let's get it.
Bringing you this content. So, man, y'all tap in, share the stream to your Falcon fans that may not know about DFU. And as always, we appreciate you coming through with the comments. So be sure to hit the comment section, man. We're going to dive straight into it, Mr. David. The Atlanta Falcons fall to the New York Jets 27-24 in a thriller of a game. I must say, the Atlanta Falcons had their flaws throughout that game and then had very, very shining moments. One stat line we can talk about, David, is Bijan Robinson. What a absolute beast you have in Bijan Robinson, rushing for over 142 yards in a single game. Still could not walk away with the win. Defensively, you felt like they played good ball, but there was critical moments that the defense just seemed to give up way too much in critical downs. Special teams, a big strike against the Atlanta Falcons Sunday, as they have been all season, David, giving the fumble on the 5-yard line. I don't even know why we were fielding that catch. Also giving the big return. David, it was funny because just a few drives before that, you commented in the comment section, was like, yo, are we cool with giving the ball on the 35 every kick? And then, boom, we kick it to a guy. He takes it almost into the end zone. Big props to the defense to hold that to 3 points, but putting our defense in a bind. And, defense has played pretty well all season. They rank 15th in the season right now as we stand after the New York Jets game. You were once a top 5 defense, David. Obviously, losing Diablo for a long part of the season didn't help that matter at all. But we must say the sacks are still rolling in. The Atlanta Falcons still walking away with sacks after the game. The Falcons came away with only 2 this week. The last 4 games were 5 sacks a game. But still, nonetheless, the Atlanta Falcons found a way to lose Sunday in New York. So, Robert, we're going to open it up with you, man. What went wrong Sunday in New York?
I don't know. We dominated, as the coach says, stats are for losers. but that was no way. If you look at the stat line and everything, no way that the Jets should have even been in the game. I know we have some timely errors that this team. I put a post up on some of the Falcon pages that I'm in, that with this roster, there's no way that this team should be where we are right now. And it all has to come down. It all has to come down with coaching. We are some of the Falcon fans are throwing out the word rebuild, strip the team, start over. Major mistake. This team is as talented as any roster in the NFL. And I'll stand by that. For everything that I'm the ultimate optimist when it comes to the Atlanta Falcons. But this time, it's not no fan talk or anything. This roster can compete with every roster in the NFL. So it has to come down to coaching. I just don't understand what's going on. I'm not there, like I said on the post that I made. I'm not saying that we have to strip and fire every coach that we have and start over, but something has to be done to get this with the strategy that the team goes into these games and play, because the team is talented enough to compete with every. We're losing one score games, a play here, a play there, execution down the stretch, and we should be able to compete in every game that we're in. It's just frustrating to see what's going on with the team, and we'll have to figure this out going forward.
David, a lot of you talk about the losing the games and one drive possessions, which has been the case since the Miami game. I mean, there were some times where you did lose, against Miami pretty bad. You lost against the Panthers pretty bad, but every other game, you were in the position to win that game, and it came down to the last drive, but the Atlanta Falcons ultimately weren't able to finish. Abno in the chat with it earlier, man. Shout out to Abno, always bringing the good comments, bringing the topics to the show. Abno says, "Stand down, Tweety Birds." He says, "I know Hodge didn't play last game, but why hasn't he been on the special teams? Did they forget he was voted Pro Bowl for that reason?" David, that's a great point. Last year, Hodge was a Pro Bowler. He did have a game-winning drive against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Kirk Cousins when Drake London went down last season, but ultimately, Cardell Hodge made the Pro Bowl off of special team performances. Agnew has been a problem, David, not only last week, but even against the Panthers after halftime, this last matchup, fumbling the ball right after half, gives them the ball right back after they just drove down the field to score. Now you sit to where it's like, when do you not send Agnew out as the kick returner? And that, David, falls on coaching, as you stated. You have the players in this building, number 83 or 82, I think it was 83, Tompkins really showed me a lot of heart, return the few returns that he was able to get, the couple of snags he was able to get as receiver, really bringing the powerhouse to the situation. So that's a great question, bro. Why isn't Hodge in special teams? Him and Casey Washington, David, both healthy scratches the last 2 weeks.
Well, was he a healthy scratch, Hodge? I thought he was. He did show up on the injury report, but I didn't see that he was a healthy scratch. Is that what that was?
That's what I read. That could be
that's crazy. I didn't see that. I didn't know that he was on the injury report, but I just don't see that him being a healthy scratch now. Agnew, pray tell that he has been a Pro Bowl returner.
That's right.
And that was the whole point of signing him. But the special teams, the coach Marquise Washington Williams,
Marquise Williams
has that something has to be done. I know no way that we can continue to lose the game on kicks, kick return, punt returns. Agnew, like I said, definitely had no business fielding that punt at the 5-yard line. Let it bounce. It has a chance to go to the end zone, or if you're fair catching it right there, we're either going to get it on the 5-yard line, or it's going to bounce forward, or it's going to bounce back into the end zone for a touchback. You don't feel that punt. And then he's been sure-handed in fielding punts in his career, but why now? That was the turning point of the game. Giving up a touchdown right there, wipe that touchdown off the board, and it's pretty much a comfortable win. I just think that it's just mental errors of this team. You don't expect that from a veteran, kick returner like that, and it all then points back at coaching when we have players making mental errors like that. Something like I think we had Seals dropping the pass in the fourth quarter.
That's right.
That would have put extended the drive, get us close to the field goal range, where it's us kicking the game-winning field goal instead of the opponent. I don't know. It's just, little middle area. We're 1 or 2 plays away from every game being what would it be, a 10-2,
10-2,
10-2 football team. It's that close for us, and that's the frustrating part. We see where we could have made a play here, a play there, and had a season that everyone was expecting, and we're 4-8. It's definitely disheartening. I don't know what to say, Chase. It's
the disheartening part of it, David, is you beat it on the stat sheet. There's no way you walk away Sunday with an L, man. Like, just running through it real quick, the Atlanta Falcons had a total of 389 yards to their 269. We had 222 passing to their 159, 167 rushing to their 110, 5.8 yards per play to their 4, 25 first downs, 16 of theirs. This is the kicker. This is the kicker right here, David. And it's been the issue all season long. The Atlanta Falcons are 4 for 12 on third down efficiency to their 7 for 16. We had 0 fourth down. We didn't go for it on 0. They went 1 for 1. We had 67 total plays to their 63. We allowed 2 sacks. We got 2 sacks. We punted the ball 6 times, David. They punted the ball 6 times as well. We were only penalized 1 time Sunday for 27 yards. Fumble lost.
That shows a disciplined football team with one penalty.
We lost 1 fumble, 0 interceptions. We said Sunday morning before the game kicked off that you had to win time of possession. You did that with 32 minutes on the clock to their 27. You tackled 33 tackles to their 36. You were 1 for 2 on field goals, and you were 3 for 3 in the red zone, and you still lost.
Let me throw a stat out right there when we say in the red zone. I think I posted this in our chat this morning that since week 9, the Falcons have a 92.9 success rate in the red zone, which is number 1 in the NFL by a wide margin over the Rams at 78.3. The 72.9 success rate is the second best rate by any team from week 9 to 13 in the last 25 years, and we're 1 and 4.
And you're bottom of the league.
And like I said, going into the season, every analyst that we had that says that the Falcons had to improve in the red zone and improve on getting the quarterback to the ground. Right. We have by far fixed those 2 issues.
Number 3 in the league in sacks with 41,
and we're 4 and 18. What? Make it make sense to me, Chase. Make it make sense.
And you know what's so crazy about that is both of your rookies have topped 5 sacks this season with plenty of room to grow with 4 to 5 games left on the season. It just doesn't make sense to me. And then you look at player stats. Kyle Pitts, what a day for Kyle Pitts. 7 receptions, 82 yards, 8 targets. Robinson, 5 receptions for 51. Tyler Algier, 2 for 35. Mooney with an off day, 2 for 35. Tompkinson, 2 for 23, 2 targets. Davis Sills, 4 targets, 2 receptions, 15 yards. That's receiver 2, David, 15 yards. Drummond, 1 for 3. He had 3 targets. Diablo with 7 tackles, man. Diablo with an arm and a half, still leading in tackles, 7 tackles. Mike Hughes, off day. He did have a lot of tackles, 6, but that's because he was being beaten all day long. Ebiketie, 1 for 1. Jesse Bates, 3. But when you look at the day that Bijan Robinson had in the rushing attempt, 23 carries for 142 yards. He had 100 yards damn near before halftime. Just doesn't make sense. Tyler Algier, 8 carries, only 20 yards of the day, did come away with a touchdown. Tyler now leads the Atlanta Falcons in touchdowns this season. It's just, you look at the total sacks. We gave up 2 sacks, but Kirk still had a 94 passer rating. 21 for 33, 234 yards. That is a winnable stat line. So when you talk about losing to the New York Jets, a 2-4 or 2 and whatever team, 2-8 or some shit, another 3-win team. When you talk about losing to the Jets, it has to fall at the coach's feet. It has to fall at the coach's feet for me. Abnell says, to be honest, this wasn't a rebuild year. This was supposed to be a playoff berth team season, even if we lost the first round. He said, I'm going to be real. Kirk has been playing well, but the issue is receivers that constantly drop passes. What do we do? And I feel like we released Mooney after the season. The production that Mooney has gave you, I do not doubt that Mooney is released. David, your thoughts on Abnul's comment here about Darnell Mooney? You know, you haven't seen the production that you've seen the year before. He's kind of fallen off. He has been injured. He had the collarbone or the collarbone injury. So, David, your thoughts on Darnell Mooney and a lot of rumors circulating around drafting a receiver in this upcoming draft, even though you've drafted one the last 2 years in the later rounds. David, your thoughts?
Mooney, major disappointment this year. Like I said, has been hampered with some injuries, but if he's on the field, he got to make plays. You know, if he's hurt, say you're hurt and go on injury reserve or what not. But he's been out there. He's getting the reps. He's getting the snaps. And it's just not empty snaps. If you're out there, you got to make plays. Like the play in the fourth quarter that hits you in the hands, and you're quote unquote the preempted number one option with Drake out.
Yep.
That play has to be made in that position. Kirk Cousins played a game ample enough to get us a win there. The two drops coming down, like I said, I think I made the in the chat Sunday. I said that we look much better in the hurry up than we did when Zach has time to really think about what plays run. With quick fire, the offense normally looks better end of the quarter, end of the half, towards the end of the game. The play calling looks a lot better when he just reacts.
What's so shocking to me, David, is the fact that Kirk Cousins, when he gets to play, he still has over 15 seconds on the play clock. And that's been an issue all season. When we break the huddle with Penix, we are down to 8 seconds. The kid can't even get a good read on a defense because your coordinator's not getting the play in fast enough. So that's what stands out to me. And then, David, the fact that we ran over 75% of our offense Sunday from under the center.
Well, like I said, I've been researching over the time about, the under the center or shotgun. Mm-hmm. It's more, the pistol formation has been brought to light about the Atlanta Falcons, for whatever good or bad or other going on with it. But Mahomes is in the shotgun more than 75, 80% of the time that he runs. He's never under center. But, is it just the pistol because that's what the Falcons choose to run? Or, most of the offenses are not under the center teams. I know,
right.
We make so much emphasis about the pistol formation because of that's what Penix is comfortable running or not. But most teams run a shotgun formation. But I'm not going to say that that's good, but I don't understand, it's the tendencies that we do when we're in a pistol or offset that brings us to the point that the pistol is the bad formation. I know the media has made a big issue out of that, so that's the downfall of the Atlanta Falcons right now is the pistol formation. But, the shotgun is the go-to, not taking the snap from under center is what most offenses in the NFL do. But the play action is better ran from up under the center. It's what most of the expert analysts are saying that most teams need to do. But I'm not on board with saying that we need to be up on the center 75% of the time, but nobody in the NFL does that. So
Abnul's got a really good question here, David, and we spoke about it in the chat this week, Sunday during the game. He says, was that the first time we've seen a Wildcat formation where Kirk on the outside? David, the Atlanta Falcons got cute early on a 4th and 1. They didn't hand the ball off to Algier. They did a fake QB sneak rollout toss to Tyler Algier. With Felipe Franks in at quarterback. Your thoughts on that, David? Obviously, you expressed your opinion in the chat this week, but man.
I'm all over that kind of stuff. Felipe Franks, big body, wide receiver. If you're going to run a quarterback sneak, I feel he's used to handling the ball from up on the center from his time at quarterback. That's our Taysom Hill, if you ask me.
Yeah, absolutely.
We need to, that needs to be a quarterback sneak 2 times. 4th and 1. If you're going to run if you're going to snap the ball, definitely don't run a sweep with Tyler. Tyler is out. A handoff off tackle, a handoff dive on 4th and 1. You try to get too cute and it bit us. And that's another play, like I said, those 1 or 2 plays that turned the tide of a football game. I definitely thought, I voiced my opinion when they did it, that was a terrible play call. You don't get cute in that situation.
That early.
That's the first drive of the game.
Yes. You even had an end around before that play, David, on second down or third down.
When you go into a game, from my knowledge of, the first drive is scripted, and you can't tell me that there was anywhere on your script that you said I'm going to run a wildcat quarterback up on the center sweep.
And David, this is something they practice. This has got to be something they practice, because you've seen that first look against the Buffalo Bills at home when Felipe Franks sneaks the ball at the middle for the first down. You see it again in the Buffalo Bills game where we get the offsides penalty or the encroachment on the defense. Then you see the same formation again in a different style of play. Like, this was a play that they practiced. I truly believe Zach Robinson dialed this up and had this practice all last week for this game plan. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand why you're doing you haven't really had success in an in around all season. You did gain nice yardage on the in around the play before the Wildcat, but it's early, Bo. It is really early. And
now the end around, I don't have a bigger problem with that, because you have new personnel that you decide. You pull Tompkins up, which obviously is a real speedy receiver.
Yes, sir.
Who's good at plays like that. So I didn't have quite a problem with that. Whether it works or whatnot, Tompkins is a very speedy receiver, and those kind of plays up there are kind of plays that he's. If you have him in the lineup, you have to have plays like that.
That's right.
Because of who he is. But toss sweep to Tyler Algier from Felipe Franks up on the center. I'm baffled.
So David, while we're on the coaching situation, I have a good topic for us to talk about tonight, and it's been floating around social media for weeks now. This isn't something that's new to the Atlanta Falcons. Does Raheem Morris get another season in Atlanta due to the fact that Arthur Smith was gave 3 years? The Atlanta Falcons had this thing about 3 years in Atlanta. Does Raheem Morris get another season in the A?
Because of injuries to the depth chart and the number of players and the number of starters that we're still without McGarry. We, like I said, the 5-game losing streak came when Diablo definitely, and the defense took a step back when Diablo went on IR. Drake out, Penix out. We've had games that we didn't have AJ. Mike Hughes out for a number of games, and not knowing what we were going to do on the opposite corner of AJ. I'm going to say yes.
Okay. Social media. We did a poll on Twitter, and I also did a poll on DFU Facebook groups. You had 2 people that said yes, and you had a total of 8 that says no. But I'm kind of leaning to what you're saying, David. It's just more of a Falcon thing to me that it's just something they do. I feel like the Falcons are going to give Raheem 3 years. Am I happy about it? No, not a bit. And then that kind of swings us into our next topic. If Raheem Morris was fired, who would be the top of your head coach candidate? I did a little bit of chat GPT today, and it came away with these potential head coaches that could be looking for a new home in the upcoming season. Obviously, there's been the rumors of Matt LaFleur looking for a new home, possibly wanting a new scenery out of Green Bay. And then some of these names on this list, you guys are going to think I'm crazy for even saying the names, but this is just what this has gave me from December the 2nd, 2025. It says several head coaches are under scrutiny for potential changes in the upcoming season. Notably, Mike Tomlin of the Pittsburgh Steelers. He did just get chanted "Fire Mike" at the last previous game. Brian Daboll from New York Giants, Mike McDaniels of Miami. And it also says, additionally, Zach Taylor of Cincinnati Bengals and Shane Steichen of the Indianapolis Colts are also on the hot seat with future uncertain dependings on the remainder of the season. Just going off that list, David, a name that sticks out to me, and then I'm coming right to you with it, and he's at the very top. I've always said I wanted an offensive coordinator as a head coach, but when it comes to Mike Tomlin, I know he's defensive-minded, but Mike Tomlin in Atlanta, if he's even available, you got to throw the bag at him, David. That's just my personal opinion on it. I like Mike Tomlin. He has continuous season, winning seasons every year as a head coach. He's in the playoff almost every year, even if it's a wild card. Mike Tomlin is a very high stature name there on that list, and it just pops out to me, Mike Tomlin.
As you were calling out the list, you said Indiana coach Steichen.
Yep.
Wondering why he would even closely be on anybody's list with what he's done with the Colts this year. So I don't see that, him being even an option. So we'll scratch that out. But and like I said, with you, out of all the names that you called out, I wrote down Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin, he is a head coach.
Yes, sir.
I don't know but if he's a head coach, I do want kind of Albrecht back.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Zach Robinson, not so much. I know if Raheem comes back, I definitely think. Do I want to give Robinson a second year? It goes back to
I just can't, David. I just can't.
But what's the coach for? I'm drawing a blank right now for Texas right now.
Sarkisian.
The first year he was trash. Everybody wanted him ushered out of.
Yeah.
Even myself wanted him ushered out of Atlanta. But the second year that he had an offense, the offense kind of had a upward trajectory, and I wanted to continue that, but he left, and I think he went to Texas then. But it doesn't take a year for an offensive coordinator to get his footing in the league.
This is what, year two? This is year two for Zach?
Well, yeah, is it year two?
Yeah, because last year you had Kirk, and then you had Penix. Yeah.
But like I said, but as I say, if you don't fix the quarterback position, it doesn't matter. I kind of wanted to finish up the year with Penix, getting those reps and taking the lumps, and next year the growth. Because even with the quarterback, the first year that you have a quarterback on the center, like I said, he I know this is his second year, but he's still basically a rookie with on-field time.
So I'm looking at a list here of a very short list at that, David, of offense coordinators that could predictably be available next season if you were to get rid of Zach Robinson. And the two that I'm pulling up here that even make a name for themselves, and I really don't care for either, is Chip Kelly from the LA Raiders, and then Ryan Grubb, the former OC of the Seattle Seahawks. Two names there. Ryan Grubb kind of, that to me, that would be the higher stature higher there, but this list is very, very short with
is the Miami coach on the hot seat? No, we talked about this.
Mike McDaniel.
McDaniel, is he still on the hot seat?
They say he is.
So I do like him more of an offensive coordinator than I do as a head coach.
Mm-hmm.
So, LaFleur, is he going to be fired this year?
That's a big name. That's a huge name. So
there's some names out there that I would much rather have, even if we have to, go to a new system.
I don't think a new system's a bad thing, David. I don't, because if you're looking at it on the timetable, You're without Penix for, let's just say, half the year next year. You're going to go off of a bridge quarterback, whether that be Kirk or somebody you hire in free agency. So even if it is a new scheme, I don't think that's a bad thing, because I'm just going to keep it a buck here with Atlanta Falcon fans and you, David, because that's what we do here on the podcast. The hopes for next year, as far as offensively, rocking with a bridge quarterback, learning a new system, is kind of low for me right now, David. You know, you do have money in free agency this year. If you don't give Kirk the $56 million, whatever it is he's due, you have money to spend to even build this roster to how you want to change scheme-wise. I mean, David, we talked about the O-line a good bit Sunday too, man. Like, the O-line the last few weeks haven't looked right. I mean, I know McGarry's missing, but I mean, even Jake's missing plays. There's plays where, you know, no shot at Chris, because I think Chris is still a top, you know, lineman in this NFL. But, you know, there's times where we're missing in this type of scheme. You know, the run blocking is tremendous, but then when it comes to this scheme and pass blocking, it's just not really working out for us so far, you know, even with a pocket present quarterback like Kirk Cousins.
Now, we have gone back and forth about Kirk Cousins and his contract and the money that we have tied up in him. And I know I've wavered back and forth about, you know, what
I'm right there with you. There's times I'll keep him and there's times I'm like.
Yeah. So today, in my mindset, you know, I don't know why that the team is always on my mind, but, you know, my thought process today, you know, I've sat there and talked about Kirk Cousins and his contract. Right now, the special teams are the biggest eyesore of the team.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
If we don't pay Kirk Cousins, then the bottom end of the roster improves.
Mm-hmm.
Who is on the field for special teams? The bottom end of our roster.
That's right.
So if do we have better players towards the bottom end of the roster if we don't pay Kirk Cousins? I think so. And like I said, we know that as we see, special teams is a big part of the game. I know that it seems cliche when the people say that in the past, but it's never been so prevalent in my mind that, you know, you have to have a complete roster. Mm-hmm. The bottom 10 of your 53 roster has to be players that can, you know, get out there on special team and make plays. We have those players aren't another $1 million or $2 million signs better players.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
So my mind right now is saying that, you know, that money needs to be spent on the bottom end of the roster and not pay Kirk.
So I'm going through. I took a screenshot of a list of expected free agency quarterbacks. There obviously is more. You have a couple of big names here. Obviously, we know Daniel Jones is getting an extension in Indianapolis. That won't happen at all. He will not be available free agency, I don't believe. It says Aaron Rodgers, you know, who knows what his future holds. He's a vet quarterback. This could be his last season. He may get re-signed with the Steelers. Joe Flacco, a longtime veteran. You have Marcus Mariota, Jimmy Garoppolo, Carson Wentz, Russell Wilson, Malik Willis. You also have the potential of Justin Fields if they draft a quarterback in New York. And you also have the potential of Tyrod Taylor being a free agent to be a bridge quarterback until you can get a Penix back here in Atlanta. Also, rumors have it that the LA Rams may take a quarterback with this top draft pick that the Atlanta Falcons are going to give to the LA Rams, which would free up a possible Stetson Bennett in LA. So you have a couple of names here, David, but what name really pops out to you and says, okay, this guy can get us to 6 wins without Penix here?
With the names that you called out, professional quarterback Tyrod Taylor, and a professional quarterback in Jimmy G. All the other names that you've called, you know, didn't resonate at all with me. So I think that as a bridge quarterback, a quarterback that can come in and start the, you know, first 4 or 5 games of the season and actually be a mentor to Penix. Because I still think Penix has some, you know, some run with this team. Mm-hmm. I'm not really to, you know, go away from Penix as our starting quarterback yet. I think that, you know, he has, with his arm talent and everything, in a better system, I think that he will be a better quarterback. We definitely got to come in with another number 2 receiver.
Yes.
That help him. Him and Drake has a connection. So why not? Why can't he have a connection with another receiver? I do think that the receiving core will look a lot different next year. I think we'll be minus Pitts. I do think we'll be minus. Well, Mooney is still on the contract, so if we have him as a third receiver, okay, but we have to have a receiver in front of him. Mooney from last year to this year is night and day. I don't know which one was the anomaly, the almost 1,000-yard receiver, or the receiver that can drops every other pass that's thrown to him. I don't know who's the real Mooney. And will he get healthy over the summer and go back to the receiver that we had 2 years ago? Because we still have rights to him. We still have him on a contract with a manageable cap hit.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that we have to get rid of him, but we do either have to draft a receiver second round that can come in and make an impact.
You know who's a big name, and it would be a blessing if he slipped to the second round? Zachariah Branch from the UGA.
Well, do you think Branch is going to go as high as a first and second round pick?
I got Branch projected a second mid is what I have Zachariah Branch projected at. And he could slip into the third, but I have him a second mid-tier round player. I think that is a nice addition to a Drake London. You get the Zachariah Branch, which is a speedy receiver, and then you potentially grab a vet receiver in free agency. If you do release a Darnell Mooney or you keep a Mooney, then you have a nice slot receiver, a receiver 1, a receiver 2 in Mooney. There's a lot of nice names, on this list.
But a sneaky pickup. I know that he wasn't active this week. Probably learned to still. I want to see what Osborne is going to do for the team. Was KJ Osborne?
Yeah, KJ, exactly. Yep.
I definitely know him and Kirk had a connection in Minnesota.
Yep.
But I think that we can get some run out of him. I'm not sure, what's the plan is with him, but hopefully he can come in and be a better hands catcher than Seals or Drummond or Tompkins that we're just kind of piecing together a receiver core right now. So I just want to know whether he's going to be, give us any run that is worthwhile. I think that it was a good pickup. He has shown production in the league over the course of his career when he's had a good quarterback throwing in the ball. But we want to see, what comes of that. I'm still curious. What's the last 5? How many games we have left? 4 games, 5 games.
Yep.
Going to be with that situation, and then that'll show us, what we need to do going forward.
So, speaking of Zachariah Branch, I just Googled where he was projected as of now, heading into the draft class. And this article tells me that he is projected the mid first round grade. So I don't know,
Branch?
That's what it says. So
oh, wow.
mid first round grade, though he acknowledges most consistent boards have him lower. So, it could be a late second. It says others project him as a late second or early second, even a mid third round pick. So this may be a guy that slides through the cracks, through, and you're able. So let me ask you this, David: if you grab a vet receiver or KJ Osborne somehow happens to be a dog here in Atlanta the last few games here that he has to prove himself, what is that first round pick in this or your first pick in the second round? Like what position? You don't got to shoot a player's name, but what position are you keyed in on when it comes to this draft class that's coming up?
Big defensive tackle, wide receiver. But let me talk about the draft right here.
Mm-hmm.
The big thing in the Falcons chat rooms right now is, how can we the team is going to give up a top 10 draft pick to the Los Angeles Rams because of the pick that they had, because of we took James Pierce and gave up our draft choice. Pierce is a dog. All of us know he's a dog. That would have been a good first round pick. Let's talk about positioning. The further if we're in the top 10 in the first round, we're gonna be in the top 10 in the second round as well.
That's right.
So if we slide a little bit right now, we're not gonna make the playoffs. So if we slide a little bit right now and end up being in the top 10 and give it a top round pick, we're going to pick in the top 10 in the second round and third round as well. So, let's win out and not give the Rams a top 10 pick. We pick number 18. 15, 18. We're going to pick 15 to 18 in the second round as well. We don't have the draft pick, Atlanta Falcons fans. So give it up. Pierce is a dog. That's our first round pick for this coming year, with a year of NFL experience and NFL training. The player's a dog. We know he's a dog. He's going to be a dog for us for a long time. That's our 2026 first round pick, James Pierce Jr.
Yep.
However far we don't pick, if we pick 18 in the first round, we're going to pick 18 in the second round. If we pick 10 in the first round, we're going to pick 10 in the second round. Just think about it like that and just give it up. And I'm looking at the Justin Fields name in the chat. Just caught my name. Give it up. Justin Fields is not an Atlanta Falcon. I think I've talked about this many times. What is it? Auburn. No, sir. Justin Fields, keep him as far away from Georgia as you can.
So, speaking on draft picks and fans wanting a first round pick, this popular radio show, David, I'm sure you're well familiar with them, as a lot of Falcon fans are. They're kind of negative a good bit of the time, especially this season. 680 The Fan says the Atlanta Falcons should trade Drake London and Bijan Robinson for draft picks for the new regime that comes in the building. They believe Raheem is already 1 foot out the door. David, what do you have to say about this absurd comment that 680 The Fan released this week?
I don't know whether you're in Atlanta Falcons 2.0 or the Dirty Bird gang. Those are two of the Falcon fan pages that I'm in. And this is a post that I posted today. Verbatim, the word rebuild should not be coming out of the mouth of Atlanta Falcon fans. The wins are not there, but this team is not a bad roster. We have not had the wins totally expected, but we have as much talent as any team in the league. Coaching is the issue and it has to be addressed. I'm not saying fire everyone, but something something is not clicking. So that's my take on that. This team right here, talent-wise, for the first,
you're not gonna get a draft pick this draft that matches what Bijan and Drake London does. No.
The talent is there. This team is not a team that you want to strip down to the studs and start over. So get that out your head. This team has enough talent to compete with every team. No, they're one score games in all but two of the games that we played. We've lost by one possession. Probably had the lead going into the final drive of the game in 5 of them. That we've lost. This team is not a bad team.
We lost
the roster is not a bad roster. We just gotta make a couple plays here, a couple plays there, and this team right here is the playoff team that we thought they're going to be. It's I've been a lot of misfortune, a lot of bad luck, if you call it, if you believe in that kind of stuff.
Yep.
But this team right here, it's not a bad roster. It's confusing to me. I think I posted in the chat today. I do not know how we are a 4-8 team. In all my experience in football and all the teams that I've like I said, I'm an optimist when it comes to the Atlanta Falcons. But you hear how passionate I'm talking about this team. We do not have a bad football team, Chase.
No, we don't. We don't at all. And that's why I even brought it up on the podcast, because I watched that video today. And I'm just like, what? Like, how bad do you think this roster is to have to trade away a Drake London and a Bijan Robinson? Because none of those players to get who exactly? None of those players in free agency, none of those players in the draft coming out is going to match what Bijan or Drake brings to this team. I mean, Drake London was a game or two away until he had this injury from reaching 1K in week 8 of the NFL season. Like, Drake London brought a different level to this team this year, even with him being the only receiver that could get open or even catch a pass. You know, Pitts had his games this season where he looked okay. He had a great game Sunday, but a lot of the receiver-wise or moving the ball down the field was Drake London and Bijan Robinson, and still continues to be that, because those are the face of your offense. The face of your franchise goes through Bijan, Drake, Penix, and then when you look at the defense side of the ball, it's going to be Xavier Watts, James Pierce Jr., and Jalen Walker. I even throw Billy Bowman in that conversation as well.
Very young team. We have a very young team, and like I said, we started like the names that you started. We have 4 rookies starting on the defense. Those are building blocks. You know, and then you have
and those 4 rookies are in 2 of them's in second place for the most sacks for the team. Yeah. Your rookie safety leads the team in interceptions.
And then you have second, third year players. We talking about Rook Aurora.
That's right.
Then Dorless.
Yep.
Harrison, who's been injured. We still don't know what we have in Trice, which who was supposed to be better than Dorless going into the before he got injured. There's promise on the defense. You have the skill players on the offense is where you're gonna have to invest your money. And Bijan, Drake, don't let them get out the door. And if somehow in some miraculous signing coming, he needs to get executive of the year if he's able to bring out Jill back.
No shit.
So I do think that at the trade deadline, I did think that we needed to do something with Tyler Algier, either re-sign him to an extension or trade him, because I would hate to see him walk out the door for nothing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because somebody's going to throw money at him. I feel somebody's going to throw money at him that we can't match, because he's that kind of back. It's going to cost $18 million. The franchise, probably the only person on the roster that would be a franchise player type, franchise tag type player is going to be Pitts, and that I'm not paying him $18 million for the production that he's giving us. So if we can't
see, the good thing about Pitts, and it's not a good thing because it's cost us, this season and last season and the years previous, other than the rookie year, is other teams may not throw out that big price tag for a Kyle Pitts. We can compete with a decent, friendly contract when it comes to Kyle Pitts. You may not have to lose Kyle Pitts. Not saying that fans want him back here in Atlanta, but you may not lose a Kyle Pitts, but a Tyler Algier. I mean, when you hear the announcers, we speak on it every Sunday, but when you hear the announcer speak on Tyler Algier is a number 1 running back for any other team in the NFL. Yeah.
Did you feel a different energy for Pitts this weekend?
Now,
that's the Pitts that we thought that we was going to have when we signed him.
The aggressiveness after the catch, the try to get yards after the catch was there Sunday.
So yeah, I just said, and even the AJ got called for a pass interference in the early part of the game.
Yeah.
But then I look at I always go back and rewatch the game. On Sundays you watch it as a fan, but I always go back on NFL Plus. They have a condensed version of the game, and I can just sit there and watch the plays. The pass interference in the pass play that Pitts had in the fourth quarter where he didn't make the catch was no different than the pass interference they called on Drake.
At all.
So the effort was there. I wish he had made the catch. It would have been a great catch. Well, it was PI. under no imagination. It was PI.
That's 2 weeks in a row now that Pitts has been PI and no flag.
So, the effort that he gave Sunday, if we have that week in and week out, we don't have a different conversation about Pitts and re-signing him to whatever.
Well, because David, there was through week 4, week 5, everybody was saying re-sign Kyle Pitts. And he played like he played Sunday week 1 through week 5 at the beginning of the season. And it's just like, and then that falls in line with, injury when, you lose Penix against the Dolphins. You lose, a starting O-lineman in Bergeron throughout that spell as well. So, the offense has been shaken up. There has been times where, it hasn't been all rainbows and sunshine. It's been a rough season for the Atlanta Falcons as far as the injury bug. Defensively and offensively, injuries have been a big issue for the Atlanta Falcons. You're speaking on the cornerback position, talking about AJ. This is kind of a turn in left field, but we were speaking of our second-round draft pick, who we select. If there's a top-tier cornerback in that draft, if you can't get one in free agency, I think you have to pull the plug on a solid cornerback because Mike Hughes just isn't cutting it. He just isn't doing the job for me.
C.J. Henderson is another name I want to throw back. That was, when we drafted A.J., I think that was either C.J. Henderson or A.J. Well, what's going on with this dude? I think he's on the practice squad, hasn't made it to the 53 at all this since we signed him.
We signed him early too, bro, like early in the season.
Yeah. Does he can't beat out Mike Hughes with that kind of talent? I know he may not a tier lower than AJ, if that was the case, but
CJ,
what's going on with this year?
He was a first-round pick to the Jacksonville Jaguars, man. I don't know what, and it almost falls in the same category of
a high first-round pick.
Yeah,
high first-round pick.
And it kind of throws me Jeff Okudah vibes. You know what I mean? Like on Jeff's defense, Jeff Okudah had a lot of injuries throughout his career. He's been banged up a lot. So but if there's that top-tier cornerback that somehow slides out the first round and he's on your draft board, I've got to take a cornerback in that second-round pick. If it ain't a big D tackle, nose tackle for the Atlanta Falcons, or a star receiver there at that number 2 spot or that second-round pick, that's the direction I'm going as far as draft. I feel like you can pick up some depth when it comes to O-line and free agency, because if I'm looking at the weakest link as far as depth, I'm looking at linebackers and I'm looking at offensive line, because you got guys playing. Storm Norton hasn't been healthy all season. You lose McGarry in training camp, so it's like from the jump you were banged up badly at week 1.
Throw a name at you, Anderson. We're talking about depth at linebacker. What do we? We looked at him as a
his name's never even brought up.
Yeah, Troy Anderson. We talked. We have Diablo, who's going to be the starter. Sure. We were dependent on Troy Anderson to be a starting caliber linebacker, but with his athleticism and his talent, is he better as in a reserve role, than a starting role? When we talk about depth pieces and stuff, we're looking at we've invested time and money in him. Do we give up on him, or do we? Okay, you're not a starting caliber player, but you may
better than JD Bertrand.
Oh, told you not call Bertrand's name. You know how I feel about that. I saw him on the special teams unit.
Yeah, on the kickoff, he went right by him.
I was like, well, that's why we having problems with special teams. So we have Bertrand out there, but
wasted draft pick, man.
Don't get me started on Bertrand.
The Atlanta Falcons have a lot of serious inquiries that they've got to figure out when it comes to free agency this year. Not only you talk about linebacker position, but Arnold Ebiketie. Do you re-sign AK? Seen a lot of AK Sunday. They played him a lot of snaps Sunday on between him and Pierce. They were kind of rotating in. You've seen a little bit of Leonard Floyd. Yeah, that's what I don't get about this defense, David. Like, you have such a stacked, edge position. But there's games where you see more Floyd. There's games where you see more AK. There's games where you see Pierce every snap damn near. And it's like, we can't find a serious like rotation piece. Like I just don't get it. I don't get it.
Well, I guess situational with what the offensive line has and what they feel that the other team's game plan is going to be, whether they're going to be more run heavy or more pass heavy, who they go to. So
because you even you threw a name out earlier that was a very big name that was supposed to play this year and show his worth. Braylon Trice, another one that's gonna get some rotation in next year, hopefully to see him back on the field. So, it's like I say re-sign AK because it's never bad to have too much depth at the edge position. But that's
all depends on the contract.
That's right.
Able to get him in at a cap friendly number. Yes, but I think that after this year, everything's going to kind of transition over to Walker and Pierce. I don't, I would definitely bring Floyd back as that veteran presence. He's had some good moments and everything. Like I say, the depth pieces. AK hadn't played bad football for us.
No, he hasn't.
Harrison is another name that you're going to throw back who's going on the IR. So that part of the lineup is good. Inside, you have Dorless. I don't think we bring back Yamada after this year. I think probably that we probably going to have to go because of the cap number on him. We're going to have to go and get a big body in free agency and probably a big body in the draft. And I think So if I don't think that we sign any edge coming up this draft.
No.
But with what we experienced in the run defense, I think we're going to have to go. I don't think the Street has gave us some good time.
Yep.
Sam Roberts has gave us some.
I love me some Laquel London, brother. I love me some Laquel London.
Laquel London, but can we find something that's going to be better?
That's right. Full time at that position.
Yeah.
I agree. Nick, appreciate the comment, brother. He says, we have a young and talented team who is still learning with bad coaching. Exactly what Mr. Davis said at the beginning of the show, brother. You got a talented team, a stacked roster, one of the best rosters you've had since the departure of Matt Ryan, but a really bad coaching right now as it sits. Raheem made a statement this week that there would be no coaching staff changes as of it sits right now, which brings the question to me, why the firing of Ike Healard? Rumors speculate on Twitter, Ray McLeod taking shots at Raheem, said he lost the locker room after the release of Ike Healard, said that was an scapegoat for Raheem Morris after the blowout loss against the Carolina Panthers. I don't know, brother. It seems as it sits right now, nobody's safe but Jeff Ulbrich. And that's if you get a head coach that wants Jeff Ulbrich in the building, which I hope they do. We threw out some names earlier in the show. If you will, go back and rewatch it, bro. Mike Tomlin, Mike McDaniels, Cincinnati, Zach from Cincinnati could be available after this season. So it's definitely a topic that we'll probably talk about for the rest of the year until the season's over with, until the news breaks, if he is released or if the Atlanta Falcons decide to fire, Marquise Williams or Raheem Morris, Zach, it'll come out in a very short time because, sad to say the season is almost coming to an end for the Atlanta Falcons. As you lose Sunday, you are out of the playoffs. If you tie Sunday, you are out of the playoffs as well. So it is a must win. It is a very shallow chance to even make a playoff berth, but there's still small hope. I don't see it happening, but those rumors will eventually come to an end here very soon for the Atlanta Falcons. Falcon fans, we appreciate everybody that tuned in tonight, man. We're at our hour mark here for the podcast. We have 6 live viewers on YouTube, a couple on Twitter. Be sure to hit that like button. If you're not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. We appreciate all the comments in the comment section. Miss Samantha says, shaking my head, we have to win Sunday. It is a no different scenario. You must win Sunday if you want to continue the race to the playoffs, as it is very thin.
But here's how the Falcons do. We lose against a team like the Jets.
And then we'll beat the dog shit out of Seahawks. David, you'll be at the game Sunday in the Bird's Nest, as you always are. You got to be loud for them, dog, because I know them Seahawks are coming. They coming to town. I'm sure they'll pack it out.
Right. So like I said, I do what I do all the time, cheer Like I said, Falcons, give me something to cheer about.
Yes, sir. Give my dog David something to cheer about Sunday, man. Falcon fans, hit that like button, man. We appreciate y'all. David, give me a shout out before we close this podcast out. As the title of tonight's show is Another Falcon Season, Another Therapy Session, episode 171. Appreciate y'all tuning in.
Well, shout out to the shout out. That's all.
That's right.
That's
right.
As always, the wife always tunes in to everything I do. For every podcast we do, I give her love for her support.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to the rest of the co-hosts, whatever they had to do tonight. Always better when we have more of you all in here with us. But me and Chase held it down for you tonight. I really enjoyed the conversation tonight.
Yes, sir.
It did seem like we was on here an hour, but the hour went fast. So we always it's easy to talk about the Falcons. I could talk about them all day, every day. So just shout out to the Atlanta Falcons because they give us a reason to do this, whether it's painful or joy. We always in here repping them. I rep them to the day that I die. It's not. I'm not a fair weather fan. I always show support for the team, whether good, bad, or other. So it's ugly right now, but we keep it going.
We keep it going, man.
Thank you, Chase, for the opportunity to sit down and talk Falcon with you, man. It's
always brother. Yeah. Platform is always open, man. You know what it is here at DFU. Shout out to all the live viewers, man. As David said, we appreciate you coming through with the comments, the support throughout the whole show. Anybody that's on that subscriber list, man, y'all greatly keep this thing running, brother. Because without y'all, gals and brothers, without y'all, there is no podcast. And as David said, shout out to them Dirty Birds, baby. Because 16 or 17, whatever it is, we still gonna be right here talking about them birds, whether it's good, win, bad, lose, tie. The Atlanta Falcons is the number one priority for this podcast. I want to give a shout out to the wife. I hear the kids screaming in the living room back there, so I'm sure she's having a time. Shout out to my boy Ricky for tuning in tonight, brother. Appreciate you being here. My boy Abnel, Nick, Miss Samantha, everybody that tuned in on Twitter. We appreciate you guys. I would ask one favor from everybody that tuned in tonight. Hit that like button and share the podcast because it pushes us out to a lot more Falcon fans that do not know about the channel. We're on the way to 1K, and we can't do it without y'all, man. As always, it's your boy Chase, David. Real quick, shout out to Philip, Rick, Robert, and my guy Cody that could not make it tonight. We appreciate y'all guys. As David said, it's always a lot better when it's more than two, but we're going to keep it rocking, man. Rise up. A-Town down, man. We up out of here. Appreciate y'all.